Greetings, Judah. DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey guys, I just want to take a moment and just kind of share some insight on Juneteenth and the, I guess, this nation, the Biden administration. Same person who put so many of our men and women in prison over the last 3 or 4 decades, that we have had more of our people incarcerated, the new edition of slavery, according to the 13th Amendment anyway, than any other human that's alive right now. Now think about that. Joe Biden has signed into legislation laws that have incarcerated more black men, so-called, and women, and children than any other human being since slavery, since the institution of slavery. Isn't that amazing? And no one talks about that. They don't talk about the crime bill. They don't talk about the street strikes bill. The cocaine versus crack drug bill. In other words, I don't know, 1 ounce of 2 rocks of crack is the same as, I don't know, 10 pounds of cocaine. That might be an exaggeration, but it's not a big exaggeration. This guy, who's responsible for more of our people being re-enslaved, because that's what the prison system is, according to the 13th Amendment, go read it, than any other human being since the emancipation. And no one talks about it. No one even mentions that fact. And this one, that demon, has the audacity now to come back and say, let's celebrate, the final emancipation of slaves who were still incarcerated or enslaved. Either word, same word, just mixing and matching, I guess is the right way to say it. Slavery by another name. 4 years after the so-called emancipation, which, as we know, never happened for our people, but, the deceivers, that's what they do. They deceive. But amazingly, this man has the audacity to set in motion legislation to make it a constant reminder to our people as for the existence of the rest of the existence of, the existence of whatever time Yah has left for this wicked nation. So every year we get to be reminded, or the world gets to be reminded, white America and others get to be reminded that, we once had them all enslaved. And we need to think about these kind of things. That's called critical thinking, my sisters and brothers. Some of our people are celebrating this foolishness like, oh, what a great accomplishment. How is that a great accomplishment when every year it's going to be thrown back into our faces the wickedness of their behavior towards our people? Don't you know that if this was such a great thing, then they would have signed in legislation for Emancipation Day. You notice that did not happen. And you know why it didn't happen? Because our ancestors never would have stood for it. Our ancestors would have been wiser. Our ancestors would have understood, wait a minute, we don't want to celebrate, the end of your hatred and your bitterness and your slaughtering of our people. No way. Why would we want to be constantly reminded of that? So our ancestors, go back and look at history. You don't see any protests, let's make Emancipation Day a holiday. Because they were intelligent enough and had enough wisdom to know that others would come back and leverage that against us. Hey, after all, Lincoln did free the slaves. And every time you bring up anything in terms of injustice, well, hey, we did do some good. We did do something for you guys. Oh, so doing something for us is undoing something you did to us? Again, that's like the rapist finally deciding to stop raping you. And then he comes back and say, now, don't you understand that that I care? That it matters to me now that, I'm not raping you anymore. And I just want you to know that I recognize that, that I was raping you and I shouldn't have been raping you. Now, I want you to remember that. I want you to make a landmark forever as a reminder to you that I was once raping you, and now I don't rape you anymore. So I want some recognition for this. That's the equivalent of Juneteenth to me. And really, if we're really thinking about it, we all should really, reject that foolishness. I mean, there should not be any celebrations among our people for something like that. But, when the people don't know who they are, then, they will accept anything and think that it's a good thing. What is the old saying? Those who don't know their past are doomed to repeat it. Those that don't know their history will obviously accept any kind of history or any kind of recognition of that history as some form of honor or recognition. Only a poor people, poor mentally, would accept that. That'd be like those who went through, the evils of the, of the Germany situation. I'm gonna just say it that way because as soon as you say certain words, they get, in their feelings, and next thing you know, they're censoring. But that would be those who would celebrate that. That they're not celebrating that. Nobody's celebrating, the liberation of what happened in 1945 and the freedom, or the ending of certain camps. You know what I'm talking about. Nobody celebrates that because they're wise enough to know that kind of evil and wickedness, should not be given any type of honor. But yeah, here it is. They insult us. They're going to give honor to their own wickedness at our expense. Because ultimately, every time they get their June 19th holiday, they're going to be remembering, hey, they were our animals at one time. Hey, they were, our bed wenches at one time. Hey, they were our tractors and our cotton pickers and our, and our shoemasons and our, our leathersmiths and our horseshoe men and home builders, nation builders. And boy, wouldn't it be great to go back to those good old days? But again, Isaiah said it well. He said the ox knows its owner and the ass knows its master. But he said, my people don't know who they are. And truly, 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 we don't. And that's so disappointing. It's heartbreaking. Because we are the richest people on this earth. Because we are the people of the book. And therefore, we're the people of Elohim. We are the first men and first women. Truly the only true men and true women. But you wouldn't know that by the way we celebrate and just jump on any kind of garbage, that they send our way. And we honor it. And we start having little parades and celebrations. And wow, look what we accomplished. You haven't accomplished anything. They haven't done anything for us. You don't think they're going to be off on those days? You don't think they're going to get paid for those days? You don't think, they're going to have their office picnics and their celebrations and their barbecues for those days? So how is that for us when everyone else is benefiting in that? But then we bring up something like reparations, pay for what you owe. They don't want to have anything to do with that. What reparations? What check? We don't owe y'all anything. Lies, lies, and lies. But when it comes down to, theater, when it comes down to, to what would you call this? Dog and pony shows, for lack of with something, when it comes down to them doing something that costs them nothing, they're more than willing to get in there. When we were talking about, the reparations that were owed, they told us this nation had no resources for that. That would cost trillions of dollars. But yet, when the pandemic came into play, somehow or another, they started printing money like shit going through a goose. All of a sudden, they had more money and more money to come. Even that's what they're saying right now. The Federal Reserve said it the other day. Oh, we're going to keep on funding and funding and funding. We're going to keep on printing dollars and dollars and dollars and dollars until we don't have to print them anymore. Well, why weren't they saying that when we brought forward, hey, when are you guys going to pay the debt that you owe us for what you did to our ancestors? But again, they didn't want to hear anything about that. But now they take the worst human being who is responsible for the destroying of so many of our families. These people flooded our communities with drugs and then turned around and came up with drug laws that were so disproportionate from the drugs they were using that you would have to be a damn fool not to have known the disparity between the two. And then to make matters, to add insult to injury, when their kids got hooked on opioids, they started having compassion. They didn't lock their children up. Matter of fact, they started creating centers where their kids could go and shoot up the dope. And started making sure emergency MSS workers, whatever they call it, I guess EMS workers, had, what is it called, that Narcan or whatever it is, to make sure if one of theirs fell dead or was about to die of overdose, that they could revive them and get them back in good health on the spot. But when our men and women were struggling out here out of their minds because of crack cocaine, they snatched them off these streets, threw their asses in jails, and threw the book at them. Some of our people in jail for life behind crack cocaine, where their people are sitting at home in rehab centers, getting government assistance and funds to rehabilitate themselves. But this is the injustice of the wickedness, of those who hate the people of Yah. It's the very reason why Yah tell us, come out from among them. Separate yourself from these people, because these people are perpetually wicked. They're deceivers. Any wonder why Yeshua, when he was asked by the disciples, hey, what is going to be the sign of the end of this world? Matthew 24. He didn't go on to a big old dissertation about, he talked about wars and rumors of wars and famines and diseases and earthquakes and storms and hurricanes. Yeah, he brought all that up. But isn't it interesting, the first thing he said to the disciples? He said, be careful that the first thing he said, he didn't bring up wars and hatred and all of these other things that he knew our people were dealing with: oppression, colonization, enslavement, all those things, bribe, mass murder, whatever they were doing to our people, and they've always done to our people whenever we integrated with them, intermingled with them. It's the right word, probably. He said, don't be careful that you be not deceived. That's the first thing he said. Be careful that you be not deceived. And what is happening right now? Our people are being deceived again, hoodwinked again, bamboozled again, shammed again by allowing these devils to come out there and tell us we're going to make a national holiday of your enslavement. And you need to be happy about it. And unfortunately, many of our people are happy about it. Being